Thank you very much, QuickShot. I'm joined by these guys. So, pretty big win. You guys had it in about 50, 55 or so, but it seemed like Giants were fighting back despite a big gold lead for you guys most of the time. Senpai, did you ever feel like it was closer than it was in the gold game?
Not really. Like the first game, we made a bit of a mistake and went a bit too deep, and they got a lot of kills, but we got first out of it. So I just think every play they made, like especially second game, was just desperate plays around mid, and every time we would just gain more out of it. So it didn't really feel like it ever slipped out of our hands.
You certainly controlled it all the way to the end, but you had some interesting picks. I really want to go into this one. Mickey, you played the Camille support, and you had a Ziggs AD carry. We're calling it the Boom Tomb. Is that something you guys have been cooking up for a while?
Yeah, we've been practicing it a lot this week, and I think Camille support was pretty OP. I started practicing it like since it came out, because I just thought the kit was really insane. And then I saw it in LCS, so my team believed it can actually be a good pick. Until then, they didn't want me to try it, so thank you, Gate, for that. And,
either that or it was banned every game.
Yeah, it was banned every game, pretty much. So we couldn't really flex it. But I really like it with Ziggs, because if I just ult someone, like they're AD carry, and then they can't really escape the Ziggs ult, and it lands in the middle, and just the AD carry just dies. He can't do anything about it. So.
Yeah, those were some crazy plays, man. But it's not the only crazy champion picks we had to deal with in this series. We had the first talent in EU for God knows how long. Senpai, what was it like playing against Knight on that champion?
I don't know. I think I know the champion a bit myself, because I used to, like, when Talon was in rework, I used to play what was like a Talon one trick, kinda. But after the rework, I've been playing Talon a bit, so I know how the champion works, and I think it can work versus people that maybe don't know the kit exactly, but versus people that actually know the champion, I think it's quite hard to snowball with and actually get a win on the board.
Cool, so you managed to shut that one down nice and easy. So you guys looked pretty solid today, but you still got some teams to try and get ahead of in your group, looking at Unicorns, looking at HTK. Do you guys think by the end of the split you can leapfrog these Titans?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure by the end of the split, we're going to be top 2 with G2 again. And I think we play them next week. So I think this match is going to be pretty intense.
Okay, all right, throwing it out there, looking forward to it. Thanks again, guys, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's it for us then. We're going to go ahead and send it over to the post-game lobby.
Thank you so much, Pyra and Mickey and Senpai. And welcome everybody to the post-game lobby, where we're also joined by Cobby from Splyce. So that's 3 members we get to talk to. Also for you, congratulations for the 2-0 on the day. Overall, it seemed like a more clean and cut win than the one we saw versus Fnatic right before the break. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think like these past 2 weeks where we had a break, practice has been going a lot better, and we're starting to get back to our form again. So in general, I just feel we play much more clean and just better games overall.
I heard a lot of stories about Splyce in scrims, and just they were dominating, but you guys couldn't translate it to the stage. Did anything click, make any differences, or any difference in shot calling, or what happened?
I think only for the first 2 or 3 weeks that was the case, but ever since then it's like I don't think there's been any difference, like the stage and scrims thing. It's just been, we had some issues, like it was very clear what we were doing wrong, and now we had these 2 weeks to work on it, and that's why I think it looks better now.
Yeah, it did look good. You also had to play, I don't know if you wanted, played Ziggs as AD carry, and I was asking Crepo about, like, as a purist of the bottom lane, like it should be just a standard AD carry. How do you feel about playing an AP carry in the bottom lane?
So Ziggs is like one of the most fun champs to play, I think, for my role. In the beginning, I was very skeptical and I thought it was like kind of useless pick. But then I started trying it more, and I found out in many cases it's like really useful, and it brings more than like a normal AD carry. So I'm really liking the pick.
That's all about the combo, basically.
Yeah, that combo is a pretty sick combo. We saw a couple of times. Cobby, we don't get to talk to you too often here in the EU LCS, but I wanted to hear your thoughts. A good win today, but the last few weeks for Splyce have been a little rough. What's different in your mind between summer and now? Is it the other teams or is it Splyce?
I think it has to be the other teams, because even though before this split we came in and I felt like everything would be as normal and we were gonna beat the HTK and UL in this first week, and then we go in and we just get dumpstered by these teams. So that's a bit of it was really mind-blowing to me. But I don't think we changed that much. We just need some more time to get back to our form. And yeah, then at the same time, it's like every other team is getting better and there's a lot more competition. Like H2K looks a lot stronger now, and it's like last season there was mainly only G2, and now there's 4 or 5 teams I think that get content for final spots.
Yeah, if you get back to that level, do you think that is good enough to beat out those teams?
It's hard to say. Like everyone is improving, and of course, I expect us to be better than what we were last summer. But I think like if we keep working hard, we can make it to finals again.
Well, we will follow that up as we take a look at Wonder, who's looking at his own replay.
Yeah,
I
look
think-
how good I
or
was.
at
They
us.
obviously put him there and told him to focus. That's why
Please
the other
focus
members
on
from
me.
Splyce came by. There's always this kind of trolling nature that we just saw even right there in Splyce in a good environment. Has that persevered even though you guys started losing a little bit? Or did you feel like a little bit more tension? Because that happens sometimes with teams that get along so well. Was there any changes?
I think only like maybe one day every week we have like a really bad day and we have huge discussions, but somehow even how it can look so bad, but we always manage to solve it somehow. And I think a part of that is because we're so good friends as well. So yeah.
Do you have any help for that? A special coach? You know, like there's Weldon and G2 who's there for that specifically, or is it just the same crew?
I think for myself, like Yamato has been a really great help for me personally. Whenever I've had issues with anything, I could just talk to him, and it has really helped me a lot. So he does more than just being an in-game coach.
In-game coach and having a really nice voice.
Nice voice and good fashion sense as well. Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. We also want to talk
Anything else
about.
about Yamato?
Yes. No. We can
Did
also
you know
talk.
he's only 19 when he started? Sorry, I'm trying to meme. I'm bad at it. You can go ahead.
Right, I did want to talk about the first series of the day, Vitality. They actually showed signs of improvement, I would say, even though it was a very tough matchup for them over G2. I don't know how much of that series you got to see, Cubby. What did you think?
I got to see like mainly the second game. The first game I was like sitting in the shuttle, so I didn't get to catch it. But I think like going into it, it should be like easy 2-0 for G2. I don't know how clean the first game was.
So, interesting on the first one, that Vitality actually, up until 15 minutes, were really even with G2 for a long time. So, as you said, should have been a clean 2-0, but you saw then game 2, that was a lot more of what you'd expect, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think there was much hope for Vitality.
No, they were just looking to improve, honestly, because the next few weeks is what's really important for Vitality. They're not looking to take games off G2. They're looking to fight. I think they have Origin, Rocket Giants, and Splyce as well in the next.
And Splyce as well.
As 4 games, so like, except the one versus Splyce, you know, there's all winnable matches, of course.
Yeah, and the fact that they were just able to do anything proactive on the map, they tried to roam, they tried to get their top lane ahead and snowball. Those are all good signs, and it's definitely not the rolling over and die we saw just before the Katowice break.
No, there was a lot of growth here, or some growth at least. They had a clear game plan. It was like Misfits, when Misfits decided to play super early game. It was winning top laner, try and dive, try and snowball. Sadly for Vitality, a lot of these kind of aggressive plays turned into 1-for-1s, and they couldn't really snowball their advantage. And Trick was generally always cross-mapping, especially in game 2. That was disgusting.
And Italy, yeah.
That was, to watch, it was beautiful, just watching him move into lane at like 6 minutes to take first tower, and you're like, okay, this game's kind of done. Vitality don't have too much of a way back, but impressed by their growth.
Of course, G2 just came off of IEM. They didn't make it to the final, where a lot of people beforehand had said, well, they should have a big chance at winning the final, and then they come back here and, of course, book a victory. Where do you think their level is at now, if you'd have to compare them to last year's G2?
Like I think the world's experience, and also IEM now, it gives so much to a team. Like playing internationally, scrimming against like other regions, it opens up like you start to think of the game in a different way, and that is really helpful. Like when you go back into your own region and playing, so it should only get better for them.
Did you get to practice against any of the teams that were at Katowice, or?
No, not this IEM, sadly.
That is indeed.
Did you watch?
Yeah, I watched like pretty much all of the games, but yeah, what wasn't pauses and.
Yeah, could you guys see like a lot of the changes, for example, on like the focus on like Raptor contests and a lot more aggression in the top lane, which I think would suit Wunder as well. Are those changes that you guys are excited for with Splyce and have started like implementing in scrims as well?
Yeah, we were like implementing them at the same time as we were watching IEM, and I think Trashy already knew it like before it was happening, pretty much. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. We'll see that evolving over the next couple of weeks. And we're also going to take a look at the group standings as we get towards the pointy end of week 6. G2 and Misfits very close there. HK Unicorns of Love. Then Splyce, you guys picked up a win. Vitality, they're just below you, but those are 4 series. Do you think that they ever get near you, or is that anything you're thinking about?
Like, of course, they can improve and start to win games, but how it looks right now, playoffs are pretty much set. So they should just look to improve, and I don't think they can look for playoffs at this moment.
Crepo or Stress, if the 6 teams here go to playoffs, how does that play out?
I think it looks as it is, unfortunately. I would love to say the Giants of Vitality can make a run, but without, back-to-back wins over tougher opponents, I don't think it's happening.
Ooh, yeah, I think it's pretty locked in the sense that I don't think Fnatic's going to challenge top 2. They won't drop out either. But if you look at Misfits, there's a world if Misfits take a series off G2 and then G2 make a blunder somewhere else, they go up. The same token, if Unicorns feel like the hit from this loss that they had right now and the kind of poor IEM and Splyce can keep going with the upwards trajectory, maybe Splyce hop up a ranking.
Yeah, Kabi, what do you think of the Unicorns of Love? They were so good in the beginning of the split, but now they suffered that loss versus G2 twice. They went 1-4 at IEM. They lost again yesterday then as well. How do you think that's going for them? And do you see them getting back on the
on the Unicorn?
Yes.
Like, they looked a lot stronger in the beginning, but I always think Unicorns as a team, they play a different style than other teams. Like, I'm not gonna use the phrase chaos style and
just
like
did.
Banned from the desk. Yeah.
But they're hard to figure out. But I think if you take out the comfort picks, you ban Shin, you ban Ryze, and you see what did they got then in a best of series, and it takes some time to figure them out. But once you figure them out, then I think they should be easily beatable.
And I really want to see Chachi and Hilly performing again. That was one of the big strengths of Unicorns. We focus so much on Xerxes' champion pool, but the last couple of series, Chachi and Hilly haven't been as reliable as they had been in weeks 1 to 4, and that's what the Unicorns need as well.
I think those are all great points.
All right, great points, all of those.
She was nodding at me like, your turn. I'm like,
I
no,
thought you had
I
something
think
to say.
I'm good, no?
Okay. Well, I did want to bring up the Misfits because Kabi's here as well, and Misfits are a team that we found has grown so incredibly well, just in macro play, and seeing that their macro play is probably of the best in Europe, if not even the best, but they, of course, still have to play G2. What do you think of that, or is that overshooting?
Maybe overshooting a bit. I think the late game is not flawless yet. And like, they have really good individual players, and I think like they had this Korean boot camp prior to the split, so that helped them a lot, of course. But I think like teams like us and G2, maybe in H2K, are at the same level of macro almost.
Bottom lane ones, Wise, Ryder, Hansama, and Ignar. Hansama had a bit of hype coming in, and it wasn't like it was immediately exceptional, but it does seem that in that lineup, every member thrives. What do you think of Hansama and Ignar at this point in time?
They're pretty strong bot lane. It's hard to say, like, I'm not really sure how to rank them, but they're definitely like one of the better bot lanes. And I think Hansama, like, he has a lot of room to grow still, but he is really talented, and I think he's been performing super well already, so he's a strong player for sure.
That he is, yeah.
I'm liking the Misfits
Do you have
bot lane.
anything to say?
I have plenty of things to say. I'm just trying to let other people talk. No, like, the focus for
That's a
Misfits... Trying to improve here, Shocks, just alongside the other teams. No, I think Ignar is playing really well, and I think right now we don't see Misfits put a lot of pressure on playing around bot lane. It's almost like they focus, especially this week, on top lane very heavily, and then you can't really gauge how good of a player is. I think they're good at not getting caught playing the utility role. If the meta ever swings into super heavy, like maybe a Lucian meta game, or just pure trading bot lanes again, or all-ins, then we can see how good Hansama is.
Stress.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think one of the strengths is Ignar out of lane as well. He's been good at roaming, vision control, him and Kakao. That's what I like about Misfits. That's why I want to see him against top teams. See if like a Nuclear and Shay or a Venomith, you can keep him in lane.
All right, well, we will see what happens. That's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us, Kabi, and good luck the rest of the games. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. to close out week 6 with 2 final best of 3s on, Origin versus Misfits and the Unicorns of Love versus Rocket. Oh, yeah, we're not going to go yet. I do want to talk about that. What's going to happen with that Origin roster? Hiva is not there, but who is?
That's all we know is Hiva has been removed from the lineup. This isn't even benched. He is not on Origin anymore.
We no longer know. All we know is that the contract is gone for Hiva. We know the Valyrian, the famous 80 carry, may be in Berlin. We don't know anything else right now. So, Kabi, have you ever played versus the Valyrian?
I have no clue who they are playing with, so...
Okay.
But do you know who the Valyrian is?
No.
It's Cyanide.
I was going to say, Peke and Cyanide are locked on their roster, so...
RNA may give the good return. Play some House or bot lane. Who knows?
That's such a good reason.
You know what? I'm just excited for that matchup just to see what happens, and hopefully for them it's something good and something can happen there, because it's about damn time.
I mean, yeah, they need to make changes, and the problem is, like, everybody is just banging on Origin, but they're only one win away from the second spot right there. So if they win a single series, suddenly they're tied.
Yeah, that's 1-5 versus 0-6 at the bottom.
What might be the most important game for them next week, if they beat Roccat in the series that one team must win. One team's got to win that, and that potentially gives them seeding for promotion tournament, which allows them to avoid Schalke. It's such a long road.
Yeah, no, it's
but
very
that is so
important.
There's
important.
also just like the rumors of Nahyun potentially, and this is literally me picking this up on Reddit, but like role swapping. I would feel so bad for the guy if he played 27 or whatever it is mid lane games, never wins a game. He role swaps to support
And they win.
or AD carry, whatever it is, and then he gets his first win. That would feel like.
Put him on brand. Put him on brand. Put him on something. Just a mid laner in bot lane.
A win is a win. We'll see what happens. All right. Well, now for real, thank you so much for joining us, all of you guys. And until then, tomorrow, time for us to close the client. Thank you. We will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central European Time to close out week 6 of the EU LCS. Peace.